call the Finance Committee to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the May 4th minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is financial update.
All right, so again, ending the year, we're in good shape. We're projecting a surplus, but to speak to the surplus in a minute, we were also recently cut in our next year's FY24 budget by $250,000. So I have for you tonight a way to, with your approval, meet the city's new requirement of cutting our proposed budget by $250,000. As you recall, in our budget process earlier this year, the Personnel Committee was asked to include new positions. So over the last 13 years, our department had cut 32.5 positions. So we really believed some of our staffs were very short, as 5 years pointed out, and that's why we're doing a study in the near future. A way to absorb this hit is to not remove all of these positions, but to move the funding of some. So you'll see the first one was a position that Mr. Toddy had proposed to be a full-time painter. So there's a cut there in the dollar amount you'll see. The three remaining positions, and we talked about it a lot, most of the positions that we included in the personnel budget this year that were new or reinstated positions were social emotional learning needs. So guidance counselors, interventionists, social workers. So you can see the ERS social worker that's in that proposal has been moved to Title I funding. So even though right now that's a drop to the budget, there's no guarantee that our Title I allotment will remain in such a fashion that we can always absorb this position. So with these cuts, my recommendation next year would be to move them back to operating so that we can fully sustain them over time. The William Allen guidance counselor position, again, a portion of that moved to the Title I grant as well, and the same with the 0.5 guidance counselor, which will make the guidance counselor at School Street full-time, move to Title I, and you can see that we've got that right to $250,000.
Why was the city council requesting this reduction?
So we were at City Council and correct me if I'm wrong, the mayor was trying to get the budget to be under $1 increase total, and he cut everybody's budget by a little bit. They just asked us if we could reduce it by $250,000, and we had a preliminary conversation, and I sent an email to the board just saying, hey, we asked to kind of look at this. And I think it's the best way for us to do it. If we're going to continue to work forward with the city when they ask us for stuff like this, we should be working together. And it doesn't look very impactful to me. No, I don't want paint, so I get why Mr. Toddy doesn't want paint, but I think it's something we can find a compromise on. So I think it was the right thing to do. And he didn't just cut the schools, to be clear. He cut, everybody got a little bit off.
Well, I was just curious if they were worried about a future projection of the school budget.
That wasn't really what I got for feedback. It was really just, he was trying to get to a benchmark that they collectively agreed to, and everybody had to give a little. Yeah.
Like 82 cents.
Yeah, he was trying to bring it down to 80, so.
How does this work with your switching back and forth to Title I?
To Title I. So it's really just it's a payroll. So we get, Title I's a federal grant that the school department receives. So what we have to do is just pay people out of two different pots, essentially. So
And there are strings that say where you can't do that, or you can't do this, or any of that, so,
totally
Okay.
fine. Yep.
okay.
I will also maybe mention for the board that's here and for the public that Mr. Lynch did also ask the city to consider taking the remainder of our surplus, whatever we turn over this year, and putting it in our current school capital, school building capital reserve fund. As we all know, we're looking to build a new school, and if we can put that there as a savings account and then offset future tax implications, I think that's a good idea. So I want to thank Mr. Lynch for doing that.
They seemed receptive to debating. There wasn't a commitment at that meeting, but they seemed receptive to having that discussion.
I don't know if you saw any of the rumors or announcements or something coming out of the state senate, but they've added quite a bundle of money.
That's what I heard,
And
yeah.
for schools, yeah, and so that's good. One is in building aid, not a ton, I mean, it's, it's additional, and one is for sending teachers, paying for teachers to go get coding. So, good.
All right, anything else for Kyle? Okay.
No, it's not doing it.
Oh, is that really on board, or is that five?
She's kind of functioning in a quasi role right now. We still have the contract to go.
All right.
Do you have any camera
I don't
in
know.
the budget?
Steve, do you need me to stop and wait or just keep going? Okay, all right. All set with financial update, guys? Cool. Next item, driver training program bid.
So we had one bid, so I make a recommendation to accept this one bid for our driver ed program.
So it's always the same company, right? For
Yeah.
whatever it is. I'll make the motion.
Oh, Tri-City.
Tri-City,
Got it, sorry. All right, so the recommendation superintendent's Tri-City driving school in the amount of $670 for 2023 to 2024, $680, 24 to 25, and $690 for 25 to 26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, back to the top. Next item on the agenda is school lunch meal prices.
So included in your backup is the rationale, and you can see a little data that we've called together for you, but obviously, all of us that have gone to the grocery store have seen an impact in our food costs. It's something that I think would be wise of us. Each summer, we do look at our costs. We have not, last year we did raise by a nickel. Obviously, through COVID, things were free, but for 3 years prior to that, we had not increased lunch prices. And the numbers that you see for comparative schools are current numbers, and I did call a couple of the superintendents just to see if they were staying with those numbers. 2 of the 3 that returned my call confirmed that they will be increasing their prices as well, unfortunately, and it's just, I think, a sad fact of where we are. So the request is to increase the school breakfast prices by a quarter, and 10 cents for student meals for lunch. And then it would be a quarter increase to adult lunch meals. Again, I think that's just to keep up with costs that we absorb through our department in staffing, but also increased food cost prices.
Mr. Kamari?
Related to this, the food program, there's some legislation being proposed at the federal level for healthier meals and cutting out, and all the other, cutting out sugars and all this other, they're starting to really dictate and trim
Just
down
nutrition, yeah.
the nutrition plans, which obviously is gonna come with a cost, because healthy eating costs more. Not that we don't want kids eating healthy, but, so is this is just for a 1 year, and if we find that the prices go up?
You could do this every year if you wanted.
I'm actually surprised it's not.
As a line.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the increases as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, surplus update.
Yes, so 2 months ago, the Finance Committee requested that myself and Ms. Kelly look at our proposed, at the time it was about 1.8 that we were projecting, and authorized us to spend $500,000 on things that we would need. You can see that there's a breakdown of this right here, starting with the $500,000 allotment. As you know, we did work with the city to acquire land for a new elementary school, right, that was $250,000. You can see the boom lift and trailer that Mr. Toddy's department got to get all those high touch places. Special Services Committee wanted to acquire the remainder of the mats for the wrestling team. And then we did start our new HR director early, right? So instead of July 1, starting earlier. You can see that then Mr. Toddy mentioned the Gonic mini splits that were in place to get some cooling at Gonic. Again, to help grounds, we have a field paint machine. We did pre-order paper for schools, it's a customary activity that we have. We did help out with the softball sign project. We do have an admin retreat this year that normally happens in the next fiscal year, but we thought it'd be wise, because we're doing it in June this year. We did get a few new office items. Also talked to the band department about some replacement equipment, that some of the instruments were needing to be replaced. So this is actually, believe it or not, that's only 2 instruments. Okay, that's 2 instruments. The Obeus program is something we'll talk more about in special services, but as we all know that education and social emotional learning needs, right? We've looked at bullying, anti-bullying prevention, so we'll have a unified, structured program across all schools for learning environments for students and staff. And then we did have some facilities repairs and supplies needed in Mr. Toddy's department. And then with looking at the new school and the site, we acquired engineering costs that we had not budgeted for. So we thought it'd be wise to allot some of the surplus that you allotted to us to pay something that we had not budgeted for, but we needed.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Kyle. Moving on to financial updates from personnel. We didn't have any because we looked at approved stipends, correct? Financial items from building, make a motion to approve solid routes construction for the Maple Street Magnet School floor repair in the amount of $80,979 out of budgetary line 23104.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 5-year plan.
You had some conversation in your last meeting that you guys wanted to bring up an item from your parking lot.
I do, but I have to have a conversation with Mr. Pierre about it first. So it's something we want to move structurally.
So that won't happen until September if you guys want to make that change, but this is as is.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, I understand. I need to have more conversations about why I want to move it from one to the other before I just make an assessment.
So then you guys are all set as is? We have the changes you voted on last time that we'll
Right.
make next meeting.
All right, public comment? Seeing none? Anything under other? Nothing under other. Fantastic. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.